Hello and welcome to Tales from the Unknown. My name is Zach and today we are building a character for Fatherfog, a character who is going to have to survive unrelenting fairy tale horrors in a world filled with fog, and I'm very excited to do that. So, without any more delay, let us begin. Alright, to build a character in Fatherfog, we are going to need a copy of the game. Obviously, you can either use a physical version or the PDF. It has a wonderful two-page spread dedicated to creating a character that we're going to be using. We are going to need a character sheet. We are going to need something to write on the character sheet, and we are going to need pretty much all the D10s you have. It's we're going to be rolling a lot of D10s. I mean, the first thing we're going to do is establish our stats, and each of those rolls is 6 D10s. Now, you can just use one D10 over and over again, but I'm someone who likes to roll a lot of dice if I have the possibility to, so we're going to do that. And yeah, we're just going to kind of just follow this guide and create a character. I have no thoughts on this character right now. It is a complete blank slate. I'm a big fan of going into character creation kind of just with nothing and seeing where the dice lead us and see what we can come up with. So let's get into it. So the first thing we are going to do is roll stats. So stats in Fatherfog are strength, intellect, and will. These are the things that we're going to roll on when our character is actively trying to do something, when they act on something that has a possibility of fail. It's also probably the thing that we're going to be rolling on the most. So I'm going to roll those real quick, just in order. So starting with strength and intellect and will, and then we will discuss what I got. All right, the stats have been rolled. I don't know why I made that so intense. And this is what I got. I should also note right now, a 30 is average in Fatherfog. So like if your stat is a 30, then you have like an average, ability in that skill for the world of Fatherfog. Which leads me to our first stat, and that's strength. We got a 30 exactly, so we have average strength. Not a lot to build off there, other than, our character, average strength. After that, we have 41 intellect. So we have a smart character. That means they are going to be able to put together things in their mind easier. They're going to be able to deal with like riddles and stuff put in front of them. They're going to be able to, they're smart. That's what I'm trying to say here. I don't know why I'm making it more complicated than it needs to be. And then the last stat I rolled is will. Will being their like drive, their passion, their want to push back against the horrors and all that fun stuff, and they got a 27, so below average. And just a quick reminder, or if you didn't know, in Fatherfog, whenever you have to roll your stats, you are going to be rolling 2d10s and trying to roll under your stat. So right now we'd be trying to roll under a 30, a 41, or a 27. The next thing we have to figure out for our character is our saves. So if stats are our character's ability to act and do things in the world, our saves are our character trying to react or withstand something happening to them. Instead of rolling 6d10, we are going to be rolling 5d10 for these three saves, and these saves are body, mind, and spirit. So I'm going to go roll those real quick. All right, so for our saves, we rolled body 29, mind 35, and spirit 23. Unlike stats, an average is 25. So we have an above average body save. Body saves are going to be like to resist like diseases or hunger or like things happening to our like body. Simple enough. It's also going to help us deal with if we die, we are going to have to make a body save. So having an above average body save, not bad, pretty good. After that, we have a 35 mind save. So 10 above average. We got a thinker on our hands, everyone. We got a nerd, if you will. I mean, maybe not a nerd, but probably a nerd. So they got a 35, so 10 above average. That's gonna be if they're dealing with things affecting their mind. There's a lot of horrifying things in the fog, a lot of fairy tales that compel people and mess with their minds. We're gonna be able to deal with that a little bit better than maybe others. And then our spirit, which is like kind of a dexterity save in this game, is our ability to react to things quickly and grab ledges and dodge out of the way. Well, that's a 23, so we're a little bit slower than average, but overall I rolled pretty well. Now that we have our stats and our saves out of the way, we are going to now choose a class, and I think I think I already know what class I want to go. But let's go through the 4 classes we have anyway. In Fatherfog, we have 4 classes. Those classes being the worker, which, you know, are artisans. They're the backbone of a community. They're makers and toolsmiths. We have the philosopher. You know, philosophers are the educated, believing the mind to be the strongest weapon in any situation. They are doctors, historians, or researchers. We have the stranger, which are kind of the strange odd ones out. They have no memories of what happened before the fog. They also are very unnerving to other people. They are a very fun class. At least from reading this, I really like the stranger. And then the last class we have is the hunter, those who go out into the fog to provide food for the community. I think the dice are definitely leading us in one direction, but before I talk about that, these classes are going to give us a couple things. They're going to give us some starting skills. They're going to give us some equipment to choose from. They're also going to give us like a primary ability or like a class trait. And yeah, they're also going to give us some bonuses to our saves and our stats. So we're totally a philosopher. We have very high intellect. We have a very high mind save. We are some type of, you know, academic. I like the idea that we do have a little bit higher strength and body than average, that maybe we are someone who wants to go out and research the fog, but because we have low will and because we have low spirit, we're kind of very timid. We're like, all right, I got to know what's going on in the fog, but you know what? I'm also kind of very scared. There's terrifying things there, but I have to do it for my pursuit of knowledge. But then, like, maybe in the moment, they get, like, they freeze up a lot. I kind of like that type of character, is some type of academic who maybe has read a lot of books, has done a bunch of study, has prepared their body to go out and deal with the horrors of the fog, but they have like very, very little experience of actually dealing with the things out there. And I kind of like that, like, timid researcher style character. So like I said, we're going to go with philosopher. I am going to check that real quick. We are then going to alter our stats and saves. So we get another plus 10 into intellect. So we have a 51. We are very smart. We are going to want to roll that if things get bad. We're also going to get another plus 5 to mind. So our mind is going to be the thing that, you know, saves us out there in the fog and when we're dealing with fairy tale creatures. For skills, we get literacy, so I'm going to mark that down real quick. We get basic care or alchemy. Basic care sounds like it would be way more important. Or alchemy. I think we are going to go with basic care because we're studying to go out. That's going to be the one way we're useful when we're out in the field. And then the last skill, knowledge or perception. I mean, perception feels like it is going to, you know, help us more. But like I said, I think we're a character who has read way more than they've actually like gone out and experienced. So we're going to take knowledge. So, you know, we got those book smarts, but we don't really have the real life experience to back up those book smarts. We also get 7 skill points, so when we go and buy skills later, we are going to be able to, you know, probably buy another skill. I believe that whenever you buy a skill, it is it's 5 skill points, so we have 7, so cool. I also want to note something about skills real quick and just talk about them real quick. Skills give you a bonus to your rolls, so right now we have knowledge, basic care, and literacy. So like, let's say we find a cursed book or something like that out in the woods. We're trying to figure out what it says. We're trying to, you know, I don't want to say this. We're trying to decipher what is going on in the book. It would obviously be like an intellect roll, but because we have the literacy skill, it is going to give us a plus 10 bonus. So our intellect wouldn't be a 51, it would be a 61. And there's 3 tiers of skills in Fatherfog. So common skills give you a plus 10, expert skills give you a plus 15, and master skills give you a plus 20. And then if you go past master skills, you actually get an unnatural ability, but we're not going to be getting even close to that today. But it is a cool mechanic within this game. And yeah, this game just like has a really cool skill tree in which you have to take certain choices to then take other choices down the line. So like, let's say if you wanted to have the master medicine skill, you would either have to start with a basic care or foraging, and then you would have to go into botany, and then you would have to go into medicine, which is pretty cool. All right, so let me just double check my page real quick to make sure we aren't missing anything. Okay, so the next thing we do is we note our class trait. So the philosopher's class trait is: when we roll a critical success, nearby members gain 5 hope. Hope is this resource that all characters have when bad things happen, when we fail rolls, when horrors appear. We are going to lose hope. When you get your hope low enough or you critically fail, you are going to make a hope save to see if you despair. If you despair, then you are going to get like these stacking negative effects going on with your character. So as a philosopher, when we roll a critical success, nearby party members gain 5 hope. So awesome. Maybe we can rationalize some of the terrifying things out in the fog, and that is going to help, the people around us, like, keep their hope up. We also have when we critically fail, nearby party members lose 5 hope. So, we're kind of like that character that, like, if the rational, intelligent character starts freaking out, maybe everyone else starts freaking out. So we have a really nice class trait in rational, but the loss of reason is also gonna sting a little bit to our party mates. Sticking with some things we get with our class, we are going to pick a rucksack. So each class has an option between 3 rucksacks. They are going to give you different starting items. For the philosopher, we have an examination rucksack, which has like medical stuff and surgical knives and parchment, ink and quill, all that fun stuff. Experimentation, which is a good shovel, 3 tomes of knowledge, is 3 specimen jars, magnifying lens, 1 candle, and 1 ration. That feels like you're like playing Dr. Frankenstein if you're going experimentation, which rules and is awesome. And the third one is exploration: hand axe, tinderbox, rope, rations, and torches. You know what? My mind is like, exploration makes sense, but I like the items in the number 2, experimentation, way too much. So we are going to go with experimentation. So we're going to get a good shovel, 3 tomes of knowledge, 3 specimen jars, magnifying lens, 1 ration, and 1 candle. So I am going to just mark that down in our character sheet. I'm going to write down all that stuff to note that we have it. So give me 1 second, and then we will be back to roll on a cloak, a brooch, a trinket, and how many coins we have, which this is the real fun stuff in this character creation. So I'll be right back. Okay, now it is time to do one of my favorite things in character creation, and that is roll for some random goodies that we have that are going to really help us define our character more. So the first thing we're going to roll on is we're going to roll 1d10 to see what type of cloak we have. Now, all denizens in the world of Fatherfog traditionally wear cloaks. They not only provide warmth, but they can also be used as camouflage, as a tether to keep your team together, or to be easily found while in the fog. During character creation, roll 1d10 or simply pick one of the colors below which would best suit your character. I want to roll a d10. I want to see what the dice are going to tell me about my character, which is going to then help us flesh out this character even more. So let us do that. I rolled a 9. Brown. So the color of the commoner, the people, dirt, practicality, grit, and hard work. So I don't think that's our character, but I think because our character is this researcher, they want to go out into the fog, they want to prove themselves, they grabbed this brown cloak to be like, look, I'm the everyman, I'm a hard worker, I'm going to go out into the fog to maybe help mask their fear of what they are doing. So maybe isn't like, oh, this is them to the T, but I think it is them hiding how scared they are and them trying to be like, yes, I too am a worker, which is kind of fun. We're getting into our character's mind a little bit more. I really think they are inexperienced when it comes to going out and into the fog. So the next thing we're gonna roll are brooches. So these random brooches are going to just, help identify our character a little bit more, because, cloaks are everywhere in the world. These little brooches are going to be like, oh, that's our character. So we are going to roll 2d10. So to see what we got. I just rolled a 99. Which is a pipe smoking hair. Where do we get this? I like this a lot. Maybe it's from like a story he was told as a kid. Maybe it's from a story our character was told as a kid of this like detective rabbit, this hare who would go out and solve mysteries. And maybe like if we trace back, our characters like want to go out and research the fog and solve mysteries. It goes back to this like childhood story about this hare who like I'm thinking it's like a Sherlock Holmes like rabbit hare, smokes a pipe, wears a Sherlock Holmes style hat, and solves crimes. And I think that's really why our character wears that. It's like a thing that keeps him brave. So we're gonna go with that. After brooches, we are going to roll on the trinkets. So trinkets, if you've played like Mothership or other games that just like kind of give you an item that your character is going to have, that's what the trinkets are. So we are going to roll a d10. And I got a 46, which is a book written in an unknown language, which, perfect. We are someone who is a researcher. We are someone who is trying to solve mysteries. And now we have this book written in an unknown language. Maybe that's one of the reasons we want to go out into this fog, is like maybe this is our call to action. Like, we have this book, it's in an unknown language, we have a reason to go out into the fog, this is the thing that pushed us, we want to solve this mystery, and we need to figure out what this book is, because maybe it has some type of knowledge in it that is going to help us. We got a couple more things to roll on. The next thing is our coin, which this is my favorite probably table in all of the character creation, because it's going to tell us how many coins we have, to buy equipment and all that fun stuff, but it's also going to give us a little story that is going to help us determine, some of our character's backstory. So I'm going to roll once again on a 2d10 to see what we rolled, and I rolled a 1? So yeah, I rolled a 0, 0, and a 1. I just had to double check to make sure that it was a 1. D10s, sometimes they confuse me. They shouldn't, but they do. So yeah, 0, 0, and a 1. That is a 1. So that means we start with 1 coin. So we're not going to be getting any equipment here. We are bankrupt, except for the single coin you carry due to spending too much time honing your skills. Gain 5 skill points. That actually is pretty great. So we have 7. So we're going to get another additional 5. So we have 12 skill points. That means we're going to be able to buy 2 new skills. Cool, that's awesome. But we are also broke, which we can just tie back into our backstory of us studying way too much and, buying tomes and books that we couldn't afford and honing our body, and just like, we're not prepared for the real world, but we spent a lot of time, honing some skills that are going to be very beneficial when we are out in the world. Okay, so after we rolled on our cloak, brooch, trinket, and coin, we get to roll on a legacy artifact. Now, these legacy artifacts are supernatural items from folklore. The fun thing about these is when you are actually creating 2 characters, if your first character dies, that like legacy artifact actually gets passed down to your next character. These items are very much connected to fairy tales and such. Like, one example is like you can get Cupid's arrow, or you can get like the headless horseman's like head. So I'm going to flip to that page, and I am going to roll another D100. Let's see what legacy artifact we get. 29. So okay, this is kind of fun. I mean, all the legacy artifacts are fun. A 29 on the legacy artifact table gets us Medusa's skull. When someone looks into the eye sockets of this skull, they can't blink nor look away until the line of sight is broken. Their movement slows as they are gradually turning to stone. This skull is so unnerving that all who are in its presence when it is uncovered loses 1d10 maximum hope. So we're gonna have this skull in our backpack. We're probably not going to use it a lot because losing 1d10 maximum hope is rough. That's kind of terrifying. Actually, I'm also, I feel like we've witnessed Medusa's skull already, and I'm going to roll 1d10 and remove that from our maximum hope. Well, you started with 100 hope. I know this is already giving our character a negative, but maybe this is one of their first times dealing with the fog, and maybe why they are so timid. 7. So we're gonna actually, this is something we do later on, but our maximum hope is usually 100. I'm gonna say it's a 93. I know this is a little bit not how character creation is going to go, but I want our characters to start with a little bit less max hope because they're already afraid of the fog and everything, and they have this terrifying skull. Cool. So we are now lugging around a book that has a language that is unknown, and I'm guessing we also have the Medusa skull in our backpack, like wrapped up like over and over again with a bunch of rags and stuff so people can't look at it. But it also has like a cool ability. I could definitely see that popping up like in a session or on an adventure, like trying to like stop someone. That's cool. I like that. All the legacy artifacts in this game are very, very cool, and they can lead to some very interesting things happening in your game. All right, after the legacy artifact, we are going to buy some skills, which we have 12 skill points. So that means we can buy 2 skills because every time you buy a skill, each skill costs 5 skill points. So I think we're gonna actually go and we're gonna pick up, I like mysticism. I think that's something we researched because we have this book of, this unknown language, and we also have a Medusa skull. So I think our character wants to learn more about magic and the weirdness of the world in the fog. And I think we're also going to pick up fog lore. We're going to also pick up fog lore because, our character is very interested in the fog, the weird, the strange. I think those are 2 good pickups. So that leaves us with 2 skill points. We can gain skill points in sessions and games by doing things. So we will then be able to buy more skill points. I think it's when you take a rest, you're able to buy more skills. But cool. So we have 2 new skills, and then we're at the end of our character creation. So we are going to fill out our max hope. It starts at 100. Like I said, I gave our character a little bit of a debuff because I just think that's more fun. That's not in the traditional character creation for this game, but I think it just plays into everything else we have going on. And I don't think people really ever have a problem with giving your characters debuffs before they start. I just think it's, more fun that way. After we fill out our maximum hope, we're going to then fill out our health. Health is equal to our strength. So we have 30 health. So good thing we rolled high on that. So we have 30 hit points to go through. Just to note that like when you get hit by a monster and stuff, it's like 10 or 20 damage. So very dangerous game. That is why this game asks you to build 2 characters, because if you are getting into dangerous situations, those hit points are going to go very fast. And I rolled the average for strength here, so just imagine if I rolled under that. After that, we're going to record our character's defense. We literally have 0 coins to buy like leather armor or anything, so our defense is 0. We're going to fill our water skin, so I'm just going to draw a little water line right there. We have 1 ration, and then finally a name. I'm just going to shoot from the hip here. I feel like this character's name is Wolfgang. So yeah. This is our character. We have Wolfgang. They have high intellect. They are very smart. They have a lot of book smarts, actually. They also have a Medusa skull. They have a general and better understanding of the fog and mysticism and, magic than maybe others. But they are very timid. They are very afraid of what is going on out in the fog. They are very afraid of the horrors of the world, which is understandable. But their brooch, the story about this detective hair they read when they were a kid, that is going to give them the determination to go out into this world and to try to solve the mysteries of the world of Fatherfog. They wear the cloak of the everyman, the worker, despite them not really being that, but to maybe hide some of their insecurity of, you know, not being prepared for this world. They have a good shovel, 3 jars, some tomes of knowledge, a magnifying lens, and a candle. And yeah, this is a character I would absolutely love to play, and actually I'm going to actually use this character to do a like solo session of this game that I'm very excited for. We'll see if Wolfgang survives, and I'm also going to roll up a second character to go with them to see if that character also survives. And yeah, that is character creation in Fatherfog. I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to be as thorough as possible, just because I know sometimes when I'm creating a character in tabletop games, I like to see how other people do it, just because that's how my brain works. Like, I can read how to create a character, and, you know, I can figure that out. But watching someone actually create a character really helps me know the rules and stuff. So hopefully I've been thorough enough. And yeah, that is Fatherfog, character creation, a very cool book. You can check out the PDF for free, I believe. This is the 0 edition of Fatherfog, so kind of like their early edition. But like, as you have seen in this video, it is a very solid game. So go check that out if you want to over on Tuesday Night Games. That's it. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, be excellent to each other.